Hello class 3 and welcome to our first online learning video. Now this morning we're going to start off with some guided reading. Now before we read the text I want you to have a think about what it could be about. So the title of the text is The Ghost Ship. Okay, and I have put a little picture there as a clue as well. So I want you to pause the video and you can write down your prediction of what you think the text is going to be about. Okay, now let's find out if your prediction is correct. So we're going to read the text together. Now you should have a copy of this in your pack. As we're reading through the text, if there's any words that you're unsure of, you can underline or circle them and then we can come back to those later. Okay. A cold wind blew through Benjamin's hair. He stood on the bow of his ship and stared into the thick fog. A voice cried down from the crow's nest. Land ahoy! This was Benjamin's first adventure. He couldn't wait to discover the lost island of Pumpernickel. He'd heard that the fabled treasure of Pumpernickel was the biggest in the world. A wide-brimmed hat sat on top of his long black hair. One of his eyes was covered by a leather patch. His pet parrot Squawk flew in circles around the mainsail. Benjamin smiled. He'd never been happier. Waves crashed against the side of the ship. Benjamin wrestled with the wheel and steered towards the faint outline of land. Edward, the quartermaster, was keeping a keen eye out for any trouble. It was his job to lead them into battle. Out of nowhere, a thunderclap shattered the silence. Benjamin fell to his knees. He watched a cannonball smash into the side of the boat. "We're under attack!" Edward cried out. Benjamin grabbed his sword and raced to see where the attack was coming from. The fog made it difficult to see anything. A faint outline of an enormous ship drifted eerily through the mist. It looked more like a reflection than a real boat. A pale flag fluttered in the breeze. Benjamin looked at the flag and gulped. Every pirate knew that flag. A white shimmering light flickered on the edges of the new ship. Another thunderclap rocked Benjamin's boat. This time a ghostly cannonball whistled past his head and into the sea. Now the boat was up against theirs. A group of pirates were stood waiting to board his ship. Each one had a pale face and transparent like the fog. "Captain Ludd would like a word," one of the ghostly pirates whispered. Benjamin's eyes widened. His hands trembled. "But Captain Ludd died 5 years ago," he said. "Then you'd better hurry up," answered the pirate with a smile. Okay. Let's have a look at some of the vocabulary in the text. Now, one of the words that you might have underlined is bow. Okay, here. Now, to figure out what the words mean, we can have a read of the sentence that the word is in. He stood on the bow of his ship and stared into the thick fog. Now that tells me that he must be part of his ship because he's looking out into the fog. Now the bow of a ship is actually the front end of the ship, this part here. So now I can picture Benjamin standing here looking out into the fog, wondering what is going to happen. Okay, so if you've got any other words in the text that you've underlined, you can pause the video now and have a think about what they might mean. So you can read the sentence that the word is in and that might help you to figure it out. Or if you've got a dictionary to hand, you can have a look at the word in the dictionary, or you can use the internet to help you. Okay? Okay, now we're going to have a look at some of the questions. Now the first one we've got here is, what was Benjamin's parrot called? Now to find out the answer to that, we need to go back to the text and look for the word parrot. So I'm going to skim the text and have a look where it tells me about his parrot. Okay, and I'm going to read the sentence that it's in. His pet parrot Squawk flew in circles around the mainsail. So it tells me here that his pet parrot is called Squawk. So my answer for the text for that question, Benjamin's parrot was called Squawk. Okay, let's have a look at one more question together. Benjamin's mood changes over the story. Find the phrases that show this. So for this question, we need to look at how Benjamin's feeling at the start of the story compared to how he's feeling at the end. So I'm going to go back to the start of the story and have a look if it tells me anything about how he is feeling. Now this bit is just describing him. And then it says, Benjamin smiled. He'd never been happier. So we know at the start of the story he's feeling happy, he's excited to go and get the treasure. Now let's have a look at how he's feeling at the end of the story. Okay, now it says here his hands trembled. Now if somebody's hands are trembling, they're feeling a little bit scared, a little bit nervous about what is happening. So for that question, we can put this. At the start of the story, it says Benjamin smiled and he'd never felt happier. But at the end of the story, it says his hands trembled, so he must be feeling scared. And that shows how his mood has changed over the story. Now it's your turn to answer the rest of the questions. There's a sheet in your pack that looks like this with space to write. Okay, now there won't be another guided reading video this week, but we'll be back together next week to have a look at another text. Okay.